On May 4, 1970, students at Kent State University in Ohio rallied to protest Nixon's decision to expand the Vietnam War into Cambodia. The Ohio National Guard was brought onto campus to control the crowds, but their arrival had the opposite effect. The demonstration became a tragedy in a matter of 13 seconds, which was the time it took the guards to fire into the crowd, killing 4 students and injuring 9 others. The Kent State Massacre sparked student strikes across the nation, and it was a direct reflection of the social and cultural division within America during the Vietnam War. In 1968, President Nixon pledged to unify the divided nation, but student activism continued. Students found numerous flaws in the American system to protest against. They wanted to bring an end to racism, capitalism, pollution, and America's involvement in Vietnam. The Nixon administration hated the student protesters and thought it was their fault there was so much social unrest in America. Nixon himself called them bums. The tension quickly escalated after Nixon announced his plan to expand the war into Cambodia in a speech given on April 30, 1970. Students rallied together to protest the expansion because it was a betrayal of the promise Nixon had made to unify the country. Kent State University students began to protest the expansion on May 1, 1970. The students broke windows, started fires, and performed various other forms of vandalism. On May 2nd, Kent Mayor Leroy Satcham declared a state of emergency and called on the Ohio National Guard to control the students. This same day, the campus ROTC building was set on fire as rioters cheered. By May 3rd, the tension between students and National Guardsmen was strong. Protesters hurled rocks at the guards, and the guards used tear gas to disperse the crowd. The crowd was not dispersed for long. About 1,300 students began rallying on the campus commons on May 4th at noon. The students ignored orders telling them to disperse. Once it was clear that the students were not going to clear the commons, the men loaded their weapons and fired tear gas into the crowd. 28 of the guardsmen suddenly turned without warning and fired the weapons in the direction of the group of students. The guards fired 67 shots in 13 seconds, killing 4 students, Allison Krause, Jeffrey Miller, Sandra Schuer, and William Schroeder, and wounding 9 others. Kent State University closed immediately after the shootings, but the chaos continued. The shootings affected the entire nation: students, citizens, artists, and the U.S. government. Students of America sympathized with the victims and started a national strike that 1/3 of America's colleges participated in. It consisted of about 100 strikes per day for 4 days after the tragedy. Neil Young wrote the protest song "Ohio" as a reaction to the shootings after seeing photos in Life magazine. President Nixon did end up limiting the size and duration of the U.S. invasion of Cambodia, and American troops withdrew 2 months after the Kent State shootings. Congress also passed a new act, the War Power Act, which stopped the president from invading a country without Congress's approval. The tragic events that occurred on May 4, 1970, had a strong impact on American life in the 1970s, and although the protests went terribly wrong, the students successfully made their statement.